Hey everyone, today I'm going to be talking about the actual process of making a traditionally animated movie. So last week I talked about what a traditionally animated movie is, but now I'm going to say the actual process. So to start off the process, there's storyboarding. So this is also the same with any film really. You usually always storyboard the film before you make it. So this is basically just a collection of hand drawings saying what's going to happen in each scene, how each scene's going to look, some of the camera angles and things like that, as well as a few notes here and there. And it's just used by everyone to know the flow of the story and how it's going to work really. So the current process used was actually developed by Disney in the 1930s. And then after the storyboard is made comes the voice recording. So voice recording is pretty self-explanatory. This is also where a kind of basic soundtrack is made for the entire movie. So this is called a scratch track, and yeah, it's very basic and it may change over time, but it's just basically something for the storyboard to go along with in the next section. And that next section is the animatic section. So this is basically putting the storyboard pictures from before along to the scratch track that was made in the voice recording section.
Patsy, if you're nipping out, drop Mr. Locklear's key in his letterbox.
Yes, Mom.
It's in my dressing table.
And it's basically moving the pictures along to the dialogue and music, if there is music in the film. This is the point where scenes can be taken out, or timing issues can be found, or scenes can be changed, or anything like that. This is before too much time and money has gone into the film, so any problems need to be found at this point to avoid wasting money in the future. And then comes the designing. So the designs are sent off to the designing department where model sheets are made to basically show what the characters are going to look like from different dimensions and things like that. Sometimes physical models are also made too, so animators can get a 3D look of the character and know exactly how to draw him from a certain direction. And the art directors and colour stylists also get to work coming up with a colour scheme as well as an art style for the film too. And then comes timing. So timing isn't actually after the designing process, it happens alongside it. So this is basically where the animatic is put to frame timings, and this results in an exposure sheet being made, or an X sheet, which basically is a guide for animators to know the timings for things. Bar sheets can also be made along with or instead of the X sheets, and this basically puts the actions as well as the dialogue along to music and sets the timing for both of them together. And then comes the layout stage when the two previous stages were approved. So at this point the background layout artists are going to determine stuff like camera angles, camera paths, shading, lighting and things like that. And the character layout artists are going to work out things such as character poses, how the characters move, and some defining features of them throughout the film. And then all these layout drawings that are created are then put together with the storyboards and all the rest of the stuff basically. And then finally at this stage the animation can actually begin. And at this stage another animatic is actually made to see if there's any final things that need to be changed before the actual animation begins. And then once the animatic is approved and the director's happy with everything, the animation stage actually begins. So at this stage is when the animators actually sit down and start animating everything out, start making the characters. There's loads of steps to this process again, so I'm probably going to make an entire video just saying about how the animation process actually works, as in just the animation stage. But basically there's all that stuff that happens and the actual animation comes out. But there's actually different kind of layers to animation. So all the characters are done on different layers and there's a separate person that does all the backgrounds. So at this stage the background artist will start making all the backgrounds for the films, and just watch any animated film you'll see that there's a lot of backgrounds. So they've got a lot of work to do with that. These backgrounds are usually painted with gouache or acrylic paint, although sometimes watercolor paint and oil paint is used instead. And these background artists work alongside the guides that are given to them by the background layout artists as well as the colour stylists. After this is done comes the ink and print and camera process. So there's a traditional as well as a digital way to do this. The traditional way is obviously the long way. So the drawings that end up being on cells or celluloid sheets are all layered on top of each other to basically make the scene, and then all the cells are covered by glass, and then a rostrum camera takes a picture of them, and that basically makes up a frame. So sometimes photos are taken multiple times for the same scene, and yeah, that basically brings you to the final movie. But if you go in the digital process, it's a lot easier. So these photos can either just be photocopied or they could be redrawn on drawing tablets or tablet computers. And then these can either be put over backgrounds that have been digitally scanned or backgrounds that were just drawn directly on the computer. And yeah, these are all put together again, and that's the movie. So that's the entire process from beginning to end of making an animated movie. It may seem easy from just me talking about it, but the process is really hard and really time consuming, and it takes animators years to make just one movie. And this isn't even taking into consideration the soundtrack that's also made during this time too. There's a lot of things that go into making a film soundtrack. But yeah, that's it for this video. That's how the whole traditional animation process works. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like. Be sure to subscribe to see more videos like this, as well as movie reviews that I also do on this channel. And yeah, hope you all have a great day. See you all in the next video. Bye.